he just basically announced that he discovered a second sphinx. And if you look at the layout of the Giza Plateau, it actually makes sense that a second sphinx would be there. The structures under the pyramid are very difficult to prove out because you have to dig or excavate under the pyramid to do that. The second sphinx is, if it's there, is simply buried by a pile of sand. So that would be a very easy thing to dig out and to prove, yes, Filippo Biondi his technology is showing something that's actually there.
What does the second sphinx look like in the images?
He just had a conference in Italy, and his translated version of his talk at this conference just came out, I think, yesterday or the day before, and he shows all of these scans that he's done from space, and he kind of puts them together and shows the shape of the structure that I'm seeing under the ground looks a whole lot like the existing Sphinx. And he actually used AI and ran probabilities against his scans. And so he went to Grok and Google Gemini and all of the different AIs and effectively said, if you look at my data, what do you think the odds are of a Sphinx being under the sand? And AI came back in almost every instance higher than 80% probability that it is a Sphinx based on the data that he's showing.
Whoa.
That would be incredible.
That seems easy.
And like I said, all you have to do is, so when they excavated the tombs that are right next to where Biondi believes the Sphinx is, they took all of the sand from those and piled it directly on top of the Sphinx, not knowing it was there. And so you just need to move this sand out of the way and dig down, and you can prove whether it's there or not.
Haven't people disputed that, though? Like, aren't there some photos where that mound didn't exist from, like, the 1930s or something?
Yeah, so that's when they excavated those tombs. They took that sand and they piled it there. So initially when Biondi talked about this, like on Matt Bell's podcast, when he announced this, people came out immediately and said what he thinks he's seeing is actually a modern pile of soil. But what he's showing is below that in his scans. So I think it's a big opportunity for the people in Egypt to go out, do a little mission, dig down, see what's there, and you can prove, yes, so the Dream Stela, a lot of these different traditions talk about two sphinxes. And the geometry from the air, you can see where he believes he found the Sphinx. Geometrically, it looks very similar to where the first Sphinx was found in relation to the different pyramids.
Whoa.
So, yeah. So, I think
Go back to that.
Just talking about it.
I know, but they say it's false.
Well,
I love how they say that. Viral claims of second buried Sphinx at Giza
are false,
archaeologists say. Well, how do you know if you didn't dig?
Yeah.
How do you know?
And again,
also, the Sphinx was buried. This is like what's really important. Like when Napoleon found it, it was buried.
Right.
So that was what? What year was that?
I don't know.
What year is Napoleon? 17s?
1700s?
I could see the head though, right?
Yeah, that's it. Just the head.
Yeah, so if the entire Sphinx is buried, I guess my point is
like that,
it's very hard to prove his claims of what's under the pyramids because
Look, there's a picture of Napoleon.
That's a real excavation.
In color.
So, I mean, you could easily see giving a different geographic layout, different topographical layout, that if the whole body could be covered, well, if you're in a different place and the sand comes in a different way and it piles up even higher.
It's on the west side of the Giza Plateau. The current Sphinx is on the east side. And then you have the two pyramids in the middle.
So it is possible that sand could have just covered that over thousands and thousands of years.
Absolutely. And it would be easy to prove that it's there.
Or that it's not.
Or that it's not.
Yeah.
Or that Biondi's full of shit.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's not.
Right. He might not be. Well, they have also found chambers inside the Sphinx that they know are real.
Yeah.
So chambers that are proven that they know exist, this technology also shows them.
And in Biondi's new scans, he also shows cavities inside that Sphinx.
Really?
What he believes are.
Okay.
So it's really exciting. And I think, if you think about where this field is going in the next 5 or 10 years, and think about the opportunities with AI and all of this technology. Look what was uncovered in Cambodia with LiDAR. Look what's happening in Egypt with scans from space. If you take AI and you start to compile, I used to work for a mining company, and mining companies use LiDAR, or forestry companies, or environmental companies. They all scan the earth, right, with LiDAR. If you could use AI to compile all of the scans all over the world, imagine what you could start to identify that nobody's identified before as ancient structures. Like, I think you could fundamentally change this discussion in the next 5 years just using AI and different kinds of technology that we've never been able to do in human history. We can translate untranslatable texts.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen what's really fascinating when they do these scans of scrolls from Pompeii. Have you seen that?
The Vesuvius project.
It's amazing. Like, they're completely wrapped.
Yeah.
They're covered with ash. And they're super delicate, but they've been able to use scans to actually read the text on those scrolls.
It's amazing.
Incredible.
And there's an incredible amount of ancient texts that have been untranslated. What is hidden in there?
Right.
Not just the languages that we don't know how to translate, like Rongo script in Easter Island, but translatable script that nobody's paid attention to. The
Right.
thousands of Sanskrit writings. What's hidden in there?
Right.
So I think it's a really exciting time to do this work. And I personally believe in the next 10 years, there are going to be extraordinary discoveries that I think it's going to be very hard to argue that we need to at least re-examine our history.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that's already the case. I think there's, thanks to people like you and thanks to people that are making these videos where you could see this, it's just so puzzling. I mean, it doesn't make, the timeline doesn't make any sense. It also doesn't make any sense in terms of like a linear timeline of technology. It's like, what were they using? Like, how did they move this stuff? Like,
and why?
Why? Yeah, why?
Why were they building these things? Why were they building them where they were building them?
Yeah.
If you think of the Earth like a human body, were these sites built on the acupuncture points of Earth? They were built in highly energetic places. When you go to these sites, you feel different. People describe spontaneous healings. I have different dreams when I visit these ancient sites. I do a lot of meditations, and when you meditate on top of a pyramid in Cambodia, you drop in immediately. So you are, as a human, you're resonating with these sites in a way that you don't when you're not at them. And so I believe personally that they were building these sites in these places for a reason.
Well, it makes sense. And the idea that different places don't have different energy is just one of those things that people like to say, that we've got a clear understanding of what energy is and what is different about these different places. It's just different geology. It's just, there's nothing special.
Yeah.
There's nothing, but we don't really know that. There's so many things that we can't measure, and we definitely don't understand why certain places have a different effect on human beings. Mm-hmm. I mean, just wilderness has a different effect on human beings. It's like forest bathing. It's a real thing. Like, hugging trees actually is good for you. Like grounding, walking barefoot on ground is actually good for you. And we don't truly understand why. And there's something that in some way that we're connected to the earth that we don't quite understand.